paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. We have the full crew here tonight. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined as always by my co-hosts, DJ Johnson, Jason Alt, and we have Cass back this week. Hey, everybody. How's it going? This is where you all come in and say, it's going great. We had an awesome week because magic is awesome.
But
It's going great. We had an awesome week because magic's awesome.
Well, you said it, you were able to get it out at least. You were able to say the words. Isn't magic awesome? After if you can spend $1,000 on magic at once, it has to be awesome, right?
I spent $1,000 on heads I win, tails you lose.
Did you flip a heads or tails?
I apparently flipped tails because
you know who
I don't
flipped
fucking
heads?
have the product.
Yep, Wizards flipped a big old heads in that one
By
because
getting
a bunch of you gave them some money.
Yeah,
Weren't there like 10 of those released because like Gavin hid them around Seattle?
I don't know.
So. I thought he hid Fibblethip plushies.
No,
none of this is out of bounds though, because they did hide. For people who don't know, back in the day, they hid puzzle pieces to Jace the Mind Sculptor across the world.
Yeah,
and that's how Jace was spoiled. Was people piecing together the puzzle pieces from across the globe, and then within a year or whatever, it was banned. I guess it would have been slightly more.
Thankfully, cards don't get banned in Standard anymore.
Nope, certainly not. The Meat Hook Massacre. You know, the Meat Hook Massacre was a very expensive card. It's now banned.
Sounds
and
like
in Modern,
also.
Thank you, everybody. Yorion is gone.
Well, how could I possibly shuffle 80 cards?
Okay.
It's
Has
not
this
about
ever
that.
happened to you?
It's not about that. It's about me. Jason, it is about me typing 80 card deck lists.
Tear ahead.
I'm going to tear into Jason here. First of all, that's misogynistic.
Yeah, you big hand.
That's like a joke, but also it's like I know multiple people who just like have small hands because
I know more men
hands.
with small hands than women with small hands. So if anything, I'm being
the 3 people I know who specifically cited having trouble shuffling 80 card decks were like they're all women, and like it's going to disproportionately affect women. And I don't think this is like actually a reason why they did it, but also I wanted to make fun of you. So
you got
also
me.
Typing 80 cards sucks.
Jason
Shuffling
all
80
hates
cards
women.
sucks.
Jason only. I hate 2 specific women, and they live in my house. I like other women because they don't live in my house.
JJ, clip that and then cut it like a Jordan Peterson clip. Like, I hate women.
Oh, yeah. So, well, that's what we've been up to. DJ, you were doing the Magic Grinder buyer thing this weekend, yeah?
I was buying cards.
He was buying cards on Grinder?
That's probably a good spot. Yeah, it's probably good.
Untapped market, honestly.
A lot of tapping going on there. No, there's a lot of tapping going on Grinder.
Hey, what's your unit graded? It's like PSA 7.5, and you're like, oh yeah. No PSA 5 or below, all right?
I was in SCG Dallas buying cards for Toa Magic. The highlight of the weekend that you probably saw was we bought a completely water-soaked $10,000 Kaalia deck.
Yep.
That was, I mean, you know, I play Gonti, so that's close
Everybody
to my...
was so mad that somebody let their own property get destroyed. I don't know why it's like that.
DJ, you got the story, right? How does someone destroy a $10,000 Kaalia deck?
Well, to answer Jason, it's just raw envy. Like, people are mad when they
that someone had $10,000.
Yes, they're like, if I had that would never happen to me. Therefore, you don't deserve it.
I would never leave cards in my car.
So this person went through a rough patch, so I'm not going to dox them for not going to our Patreon at patreon.com/PSP. But I do know the person who sold the deck, and they are not in financial dire straits because of this loss. But they sold it to somebody for around $2,500, and then that person brought it to our booth, and we gave them around $3,500 for it. And if and when everything sells out of the deck, it's going to get pieced out. Go follow Toa Michael on Twitter, and you'll see the amalgamation or the horror show or whatever you want to call it, the spooky Halloween Magic card special.
It looked like all the cards in my office. Yeah.
They were water damaged, and I got a lot of jokes of like, oh yeah, those look like pack fresh foils. I got a couple tree fidiots commenting of like, I'll give you a tree fitty.
You should be I'm sorry, new rule. If you say tree fitty in Year of Our Lord 2K22, someone can shoot you.
So yeah, once the deck is all pieced out, you can follow Toa Michael to have a shot at it if you want some specific damage cards for yourself. I think they'll probably get like $5,000 or $6,000 for it. Like the Soul Ring Masterpiece will probably still be $600 or $500. The duels are of course still going to go. The masterpieces, people will try their best to return them to sleeve playability. There was a Legion's foil Acroma in there that hurt a little bit. Yeah.
What was the story though? How did they get wet?
So the story is that the deck was single sleeved in a deck box. I don't know what kind of deck box. I don't know if it was an Ultra Pro Satin with it. I don't know. I am not a college professor, so I don't study deck box theory. But
do you think that's a class?
It should be.
I was told that it was in the bed of a truck with a tonneau cover, and that is supposed to be a waterproof cover for the back of your truck bed. And that didn't prevent it, I guess. It must have been a pretty bad rainstorm or something like that. And
or just a regular rainstorm.
Might have been a hurricane.
It might have just been water on not a thing that's designed to repel water.
It might have been a hurricane. I don't know, but it was...
I thought deck boxes were waterproof. That's unfortunate.
I believe it would depend on the brand you get.
I was just kidding. I don't assume any of them are waterproof.
If you put them in a tackle box like the professor said to, that shit would have been completely preserved. So that's what you get.
Yeah, so I had a lot of comments of like, how could you possibly do this to your own property? And I just commented like, it's not my deck. I'm doing it for the clicks, man. Like, I am the MTG out of everybody in the Magic community. I am the MTG gore guy. I had heuristic study videos about me. Like that's my brand.
So my favorite comment on the Reddit post of it was, "Somebody get the Gonti guy."
Yes, that was
the Gonti guy.
Just
perfect.
If
you'll remember when I tweeted the video. That I think is sort of the go-to. It pops up pretty high because it was just like I got DJ to shuffle it in Vegas, and I took a video of it, called it the Gonti deck, and it blew up, and I still get people liking it like whatever a year and a half later. All of which is to say it's objectively funny that I did not credit DJ with it because the deck is more famous than he is, and that's the way it should be.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's just objectively better. Speaking of objectively better, that would be my breaking bulks.
Jesus, dude. Wow.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
-1.
I knew that one was going to be so painful. That's why we did it.
There's jarring, and then there's like deliberately disrespectful.
I know.
Usually they're jarring.
We decided to lean into that one.
And let's lean into the next segment with Breaking Bulk, everybody.
It is time for Breaking Bulk.
Okay, so Cass made a good point earlier before you two were on the... on the... I thought you wanted to say it because...
I thought I was waiting for you to finish saying the word you were saying.
Yeah.
No.
I think DJ should be, in the sake of competitive diversity, DJ Douglas Johnson should be banned from Breaking Bulk because he has a Roka now, and that's just cheating.
Well, he doesn't pick. He knows nothing.
Yeah, well, he won't know now, right?
Yeah.
You just look on the spreadsheet. You put in a thing of bulk foils.
You think he does that, or you think he puts his feet up on his desk like George Jetson and lets robots do his job?
But he gets
I
squishy
become-
at the end.
I become very OP at picking a card for breaking bulk, but I become less good at knowing other people's breaking bulk.
I typically think of it as a guessing, like the guessing being the thing rather than trying to stump, you know?
Oh, I think a good stump is busted.
Well, you'll be stumped by this one. It's a Modern Horizons Black Common. And I checked, DJ, it does
Stop
buy
saying
lists for a
stump
dime.
in front of DJ. It's not subtle. He knows you're making fun of him for being 5'4".
You know, one time I played a game
5'7".
called... Listen, one time I went to a college party in, like, Oklahoma State University, so, like, Stillwater, America, in the middle of nowhere. And we got really messed up. And at some point, some guy goes, "Hey, anyone want to play Stump?" And no one wanted to play Stump with him. But when I wandered outside later, I found out that...
Corbin, before you continue your story, you're going to have to explain to the rest of the class what Stump is.
I did not want to play Stump. However, later when I walked outside, I saw him playing Stump. And it involved putting his hand onto a stump like this, and then stabbing a knife in between his
That's
fingers.
Mumbly Peg. Everybody knows Mumbly Peg.
Sure, man. They just called that Stump in Stillwater.
Yeah, because they can't spell Mumbly Peg in Oklahoma. I get
I've
it.
not heard either of these two names for that game.
I don't think Stump is a common one, I'm going to have to say.
I don't think Mumbly Peg is common either, apparently.
Also, maybe it shouldn't have a name because that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
It's a drinking game.
No!
Is your
It's a
breaking
bleeding
bulk-
game.
It's a game for when people lived till they were 32 and died of scurvy. Like, if there is no tomorrow, get drunk on grog, prostitute who's never bathed, and play a game where you stab between your fingers.
Stump. Yeah.
Jason, so I will say that the 2010s had YOLO, and it's a philosophy that's lived through the decades and the centuries.
Mm-hmm.
I think nowadays the motto is "we ball."
Yeah.
Okay.
In the early aughts, it was "we'll do it live."
That's true. Yes, the Bill O'Reilly. Yeah.
Classic.
They call me Nine Fingers Keen, baby.
Speaking of classic, this Modern Horizons Black Common is a classic breaking bulk because it buy lists for a dime and DJ doesn't know it.
Is it a
Buy list
common?
for a dime, then it's not breaking bulk. I didn't pick dimes in 2010. Why would I pick them in 2022?
Okay, it's
Is it
the
Changeling
foil.
Outcast?
It's the Black Common foil, and it's worth $250.
That's a
Is
good
it
one.
Changeling Outcast?
It's the same card. No, it's not Changeling Outcast.
It's a good guess though.
It was
Is it a
originally
creature?
printed. It was originally printed in Modern Horizons. It's just been reprinted as well. So we'll see what that does to the price.
Defile.
It is Defile. One
Defile
black
wasn't
instant.
in an M set before that? I thought Defile was a reprint. Wow.
I also thought it was a card that had existed before, but at least according to our generous sponsor, MTG Stocks, and trust me, I trust them more than our memory. It was in Modern Horizons 2, and was just reprinted in Warhammer 40k.
It's Baron Steen.
The Warhammer 40k artwork is friggin' sick.
Speaking
entire
of
decks
Mandela
are
Effect, I
incredible.
found out Jessica Lange died today, so I found out Jessica Lange wasn't dead. Murder, She Wrote? Nobody?
No.
I'm not 50.
Isn't
I
it
never
Angela
watched Murder, She
Lansbury?
What did I say? Jessica Lange?
Isn't she in like American Horror Story?
I don't know.
That's shocking that you don't know.
I got 3 letters right? Jesus. I got 3 whole letters right.
Yeah, dude. Jessica Lange is just that she's alive, and
Oh,
she's
that
in like
sucks.
American Horror Story.
Well,
Angela
she's gonna die
Lansbury
because I thought
died.
she was dead. That's what happened with Macho Man Randy Savage. We were talking about how we thought he was dead and he wasn't, and then he died that week.
It was your fault.
So Jessica Lange, I'm really sorry. My powers are weird. I can only do it accidentally. I can't like Death Note people.
Well, do you think it's? I mean, are you causing it, or are you simply foreseeing it?
I mean, you can't Death Note people because
Are
you're
you
not a
an
gay
evil?
Republican.
Are you
Like,
an evil speculator driving the market, Jason, or are you simply?
I'm
telling
just
everyone?
riding the waves that I created
Mhm.
by dropping a giant rock in the middle of the pond and making a terrible subreddit.
Yeah, you got some of those breaking bulks there, Jason.
Yeah, man. I got a card with exactly 1 printing from Old Dominaria. This is a colorless card.
Is it the Power Stone?
It's not.
Damping Sphere.
Is it the 2-mana artifact that shuts down a bunch of modern?
I just said Damping Sphere.
Oh, Damping Sphere. Sorry. Yep.
I'm looking for how much mana it costs and what it does.
Is it called Damping Sphere?
It is now, yeah. It's Damping Sphere. Not a ton of picks from Dominaria, but like, that's a good card. And I think lots of people are going to build Queen Kaalia bin Krug because it's basically a birthing pod deck for artifacts in your yard. And so my pick of the week and my Breaking Bulk are both predicated on Queen Kaalia bin Krug. Go to EDH Rack and you can see all the cards that are in that deck. There are like 50 good specs in the deck list for that so far. It's crazy.
So
and since people are like building the deck, but they don't have the physical product in their hands, they might actually go through with it and buy the cards and build the deck.
Yeah.
I'm
so
like
one of my
5 for 5 on just stone cold guessing Jason's picks on like the first or second try.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say one of the cool things about Damping Sphere for people who don't remember, it's a 2-mana artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it instead produces colorless only, just 1. And each spell a player casts costs 1 more for each other spell they've cast this turn. So this was a thing where, at the time, the big complaint about Modern was that there were too many linear decks and not enough sideboard spots. So you basically had to choose which ones you wanted to compete against. And then if you didn't have your Storm Hate that day because you went with your Graveyard Hate instead, or your Living End Hate or whatever, you just lost. So Damping Sphere was one of the many cards they printed around this time to try to like sort of surgically attack the format. And then they decided all that. Modern Horizons 1, Modern Horizons 2, we're just going to make a new format.
We're going to make all that degenerate completely obsolete.
If we just rotate it all out, you don't need your Damping Spheres. But the foil's still $10 and the card is still $2. It's a good one.
Card's still played in EDH, and I suspect that if you can basically birthing pod / Hell's Caretaker for it, people will want to do that. Have you read that card? It's bonkers.
I don't think anybody who has ever complained about the price of Gaia's Cradle has ever read that card.
Yeah. So it's weird because I feel like Damping Sphere has always been good / also always worth money. Because it was a modern hate card for a long time. It was good against Phoenix and Tron. And now it's seen play in Pioneer as a way to beat Lotus Field and Nykthos.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things where like it crept down to like 50 cents. Because there's with them out there. And like enough things have come together, like plus random EDH demand now. Like I can see this card hitting $3 or $4 eventually. Like there's only one printing.
Yeah, I mean, and Dominaria is 2019, right?
2018.
Is that true?
2018.
We're coming up on 5 years, in a pandemic in between. So that's old. We have to like kind of adjust our expectations every year or two now of how long ago a set was, and you just got to add a couple years.
It's crazy when a set that's older than my son feels like it just came out 2 years ago. I'm like, Dominaria. That's just
yeah. Well, it's a weird mix of that, but also a million sets at a time now. So Dominaria was both. Just it feels like it was not that long ago, and it was also a billion sets ago. So
I couldn't tell you the text of a single card that came out in 2022. And I've built multiple decks in that time.
To be fair, can you imagine if it was like a don't forget the lyrics type competition where you just ask people to recite the words of the longest, stupidest modern cards that are played? Not like trying to trick them, just like, not like asking them what Illusions of Grandeur does or whatever the card for the Illusionary Mask. Just ask them what the popular played cards in Modern that have 75 words on them do. The Questing Beast test.
What is the full text of the card Beseju Who Endures?
They got to go get a land, and it costs 1 I know this one, I think.
But
so
like,
it should be
details.
It should be that it costs 2 to 1. It taps blah blah blah. Taps 2 to channel.
You can't blah 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 this.
Well, it taps for green mana. It's a land that taps for green mana. You can pay 1
in
a green
forest, or
to
is
channel
it a legendary
it.
Land?
Channel it, discard it, destroy target artifact, enchantment, non-basic land or planeswalker. Your opponent may search their deck for a basic land to put it into play. This ability costs 1 less, 1 generic less for each legendary artifact or planeswalker creature you control.
4 things wrong maybe. It's a legendary land, you didn't say that.
Ooh.
Okay.
It only costs less for creatures.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. There you go.
They get a land that has a land type.
Yeah,
Oh,
basic
shit.
land type,
Planeswalkers.
not a basic
Oh
land.
shit. Okay.
They can't target planeswalkers.
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't think I haven't read that card ever, but I don't think you can target planeswalkers.
I've been playing some Kethis combo in Historic recently, so like it's a card
yeah.
that I've seen a little bit of and just pointed at different things, but yeah, it's that proves the point perfectly because I generally know what that card does, but I still can't. I was pretty far off.
I think it weirdly shows like that is ostensibly a very complicated card that has a kind of elegant function when used.
Yeah, agreed. And I maybe Otawara can hit planeswalkers. I don't remember.
Otawara can, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
The Commander in
was a good one.
podcast used to read off a planeswalker ability, and you had to tell them what planeswalker it was on. That was hard as.
That's kind of fun.
That was hard 5 years ago. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it would be
print
almost unfair.
Planeswalkers that are in the set. They're $3. No one plays them.
There's also those two. There's the two planeswalkers that are functionally identical. It's a Huatli and a green one. There's a red white Huatli that has like the same text as like an M21 Garruk or something, and they both have all 3 of the abilities are the same.
Oh my god!
Jesus.
How about this one?
The set was due in 15 minutes, and they were short a card. They're like, oh, we need a planeswalker.
-1. Seek an elf card.
That's Tivar, the call time guy.
No.
Arena only cards don't count.
It is an arena only card.
Yeah.
It's Freyalise. But no one would know that. Oh, man. Arena only cards are just so bad.
Yeah.
I like them in concept.
Yeah,
All right.
tried. They tried.
Cast DJ, let's hear some more. Let's break some more bulk.
I got a good one, I think. It might be super obvious, but it was new to me, so that's what counts. It's a Streets of New Capenna blue uncommon.
An offer you can't refuse.
No. Actually.
Sleeping with the fishes.
Nope.
Bobbing
Maybe it's not as obvious as I thought it was.
Witness protection.
Nope.
That's a common.
Corbin, any guesses before I just read it out?
Is it the phase card? Is that what I'm
It
thinking
is.
of?
It's Slip Out the Back.
Slip out
Oh
the
yeah,
back.
slip out the back.
Card's like
I
a
picked those.
$1.75.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's played in
It's
Pioneer
good.
Spirits, and also it's just like a
It's
pretty
a-
unique
it's a-
effect.
It's a Boggles card too, I think, because
Sure.
it doesn't take its stuff off of the Boggle because it just phases.
Yeah, you
Is
just
that
phase
the
out,
thing?
so it saves
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Or his phase with it, kind of, I think is how it's described. But yeah. People aren't opening more Capenna, and it's a $2 uncommon. You probably got a bunch of them in your bulk if you drafted it all or opened any packs. So
I like Streets of New Capenna. This might be a hot take because it was like
Oh,
17 sets ago.
It was like 10
but-
sets ago, so it's Streets of Old Capenna, right?
right.
Yeah. I mean, I played a lot of that set online, and I know people were kind of medium on the draft. But I actually enjoyed that one. Go ahead, DJ.
You had one job, Corbin.
Throne of Eldraine, colorless uncommon.
The
No
oven,
Goopers.
Witch's Oven.
No, it's not Witch's Oven. I knew that'd be the first guess.
I just
Is that
picked
a
a ton of
land?
Eldraine bulk.
Is it like Mystic Sanctuary? You're like, lands are colorless.
That's a
It's just
common.
an artifact, dude. It's just a
It is an
token.
artifact.
When you
Lucky
say colorless,
Clover?
it could mean literally anything. You're like, tokens don't have a color. Like,
Yeah,
get the
is
fuck
it
outta
Lucky
here.
You
Clover?
said colorless Dominaria card, and I pegged it immediately.
Yeah, you said Lucky Clover, right, Cass? Is that the guess?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
No,
thinking.
it's not it.
But that
Are
card,
there
yeah, I've
other
actually
artifacts?
I've
It's not
looked at
Lucky
that card
Clover
before.
or
and
Witch's Oven.
Lucky
It's never
Clover is
been a
not even a
pick.
pick, actually. It's 30
Yeah,
cents.
Lucky Clover's never been a pick, and I've tried. I keep putting them back, and it never goes.
I think I picked it a while back as like a spec.
I think you did too, and I
That's-
don't think you
yeah.
were wrong.
Not at the time. Probably not at the time.
All right.
I'm trying to think of what other colorless cards are in that set. I guess it could be a land.
It is not a land. Jason already asked for
He said it's an
clarification.
artifact.
Okay.
Is
It is
it?
an artifact.
Is it?
Oh.
I
Heraldic
angrily asked
Banner?
him to clarify.
It is Heraldic Banner.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the
a-
Everyman's Lord.
That was
Yep.
Throne
Yeah.
of Eldraine?
Yeah.
Throne of Eldraine, 3-mana artifact. Enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0, and it taps to add a mana of the chosen color. Throne of Eldraine had a mono-color sub-theme.
Let's say you're
with,
forgetting about the adamant theme.
I was trying to... I knew it was an A word. I was like,
Yeah.
what was the stupid mechanic that didn't
Adamant.
matter? Adamant, that's
Angela
what it was.
Lansbury.
It very cleanly came together with Devotion in the later released Theros Beyond Death, you see.
But none of those cards mattered because Oko and Uro were a thing.
And then after that, the Brainstorm Brewery preview card, Escape to the Wilds, was part of the Teamer Adventures deck.
Yep.
They got a bunch of stuff banned. Yeah.
Including
but yeah, so
us
you
getting
forget
preview
about
cards.
you forget about that adamant theme. You also, people might remember, Eldraine was when Magic Arena was new.
Yeah.
And they did not have player-to-player drafting yet. And their auto draft, their quick draft function where you just draft against the bot or whatever you want to call it, did not have the best inputs. And I don't think it dynamically adjusts or anything. So for a good month after Eldraine released, the quick drafts, the bots would never take Merfolk Secret Keepers or the other mill cards. And you just end up with 8 to 10 of them. And it was broken. Like it got to the point where you really couldn't play Eldraine on Arena if you cared, because everyone was just cheesing mill decks. It took them way too long to change it.
Excellent.
I think Frank Carson was playing 60 card decks because he was playing against mill so much, and that's a bad sign.
So Heraldic Banner is a very emblematic card of the format that I'd like to call 78 card unsleeved casual, where somebody is just going to fill their cart with cards that say color on them, or just they're going to buy this for their elf deck because they have a mental breakthrough that realizes that they can name green with it or something. This is another one of those cards that just gets absorbed into the ecosystem and is never seen again. If somebody brings picked bulk to you with Eldraine in it, you'll get these, and then you'll sell them, and they disappear forever. They don't get sold in the same way that Damping Spheres do. They don't get sold back to vendors as quarters.
They get played on a dirty picnic table, and they never re-enter the
well,
market.
yeah, I mean it's a mana rock and an anthem, right? This card's great.
Here's the thing you forgot, DJ, is when they sell it bulk to a vendor and the vendor goes to the bulk, they always forget to pull the Heraldic Banner, then immediately sell the bulk again without picking the Heraldic Banners out. I think I just bulked off 50 Heraldic Banners.
Nice.
Because I did not know the card was worth anything.
Very true.
Yeah, that's a good one. We were talking about if it's fair for DJ to participate in any of these games now that he has a Roka. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this one because I thumbed through a bash that I did today, and I was like, oh, cool, my machine picked a Heraldic Banner. What is that worth? Oh, I listed it for $1.99. Excellent.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, we want to move on to our next thing here, and this is going to be an email from a patron, from one Joey D. And as a reminder, anybody who supports this podcast at patreon.com/BSB, send us your email. Let us know you're a patron, and we will get to it immediately on this cast. We've had a real dearth of emails lately, which is too bad because back in the day,
of them, because we never read them for 7 years. That's why no one emails.
We used to have mailbag episodes, and we'd have so much mail we had to have from the vault email because we couldn't fit it all in the mailbag episode. So send us some emails, brainstormbrew@gmail.com. This email comes to us from one Joey D. Hey, Brew Crew. The emergency episode of Brainstorm Brewery was nice, but I want your thoughts on the MTG 30th Anniversary Edition from a financial perspective. Do you buy, not buy, crack and hope to win the booster lottery and sell, hold sealed? What are the actionables on this product? Thanks, Joey D. Well, we certainly, for those who are unaware, hopefully you got this in your podcast app because you're subscribed or you liked it on YouTube and hit the little bell icon, as Jason says. Or that's not what Jason says about
That's
it.
not what I say at all.
What do you say, man?
I don't think I'm allowed to say it anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, it's beer can opening.
It's a reference
noise.
to finger banging.
It's a reference to finger banging?
Yeah, because I say finger blast, which is... Finger blast is a reference to finger bang.
I see. I was actually going to say finger
blasting
bang.
Sounds like the next level up. Like you got an upgrade in RPG. Like you upgraded your finger bang to finger blast.
Double,
you upgraded these two fingers.
So, do that to the bell icon. Or just take it out for dinner. Whatever. Buy it a nice gift. Just
You're making this so much worse.
hang out with the bell icon. Do the right thing, and you can find us on YouTube. Platonically. Look, we put out a bonus episode last week. We covered, we casted on Monday. We covered everything we normally would. And then we got the bomb dropped on us Tuesday with the Magic 30 and all the other things that came along with it and the drama. And we put out an episode as fast as possible. So 2 episodes for you last week. Hope you enjoyed. But I suppose now we can answer Joey's question, which I think is pretty straightforward here. What do you think people should do with the financial side of this product?
If you buy it, keep it sealed.
That's the one.
I don't think that's what to tell people.
Oh, they're going to print more 30th edition special stuff? You sure?
No.
What do you think, DJ?
I think that, number one, bankroll management is important in this industry if you're trying to buy things.
That's it. That's the one right there.
What
Bankroll management. Yeah.
And this is a $1,000 product that is also coming out at the same time as a lot of other $1,000 products. And, like, is it probably going to be worth more later? Yes. Are they also coming out with, like, a 30th anniversary secret lair that comes with an old border Dan Fraser Chrome box and birthing pod and 28 other cards?
That's cool too.
If you can afford to, like, max out on both that and the 30th anniversary thing, then you shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, you got other problems, like, you know, when your stocks are going to vest, like...
So I did like Patrick Sullivan's little dollop of wisdom that he never has more invested in Magic than he does Hasbro stock. Which is...
Does he have any Hasbro stock?
Yes.
Okay.
His rule of thumb is every time he wins tickets on Moto, he invests them into Hasbro stock. He probably buys like a share a week.
And so, like, if you are thinking about buying that as, like, a financial play, I would ask yourself if you want to either buy the 30th anniversary secret lair or just, like, save that money to buy a collection, or because, like, Christmas is coming up and other people
This is outside the scope of the question. He said what to do with
don't
the product.
buy the product. That was the...
DJ says, look...
Manage your bankroll.
Look, obviously...
You don't know his bankroll.
Obviously, bankroll is a question for people. I think that, yes, that it is true that if you buy this product, you do not want to open it. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Put that thing in the closet and hold on
There's
to
a
it.
thing online
maybe
where you
just
can,
don't
like,
buy it, though.
you can
whatever you
simulate
want.
it. It's like, here's what you would open. And if you imagine spending $250 for a Savannah Lions and a Life Lace and stuff like that, like, you're like, I was so glad I didn't spend. It's not even a real Savannah Lions.
So I want to elaborate on the bankroll thing, because I think there's like some real actionable, like, this is like some
that
of the
could be a whole
episode.
episode.
I'm gonna give like a quick and dirty though, because the question that I was asked to help frame this for me was, what does your business or your bankroll have to be worth to justify purchasing an unlimited Black Lotus for $10,000? And I've heard answers from as low as $0 to $200,000, right? It's like, if your business is worth, you know, if you have like $40,000 in cards or something, you have like a pretty big collection and you're trying to make money, buying a $10,000 Black Lotus is a quarter of your bankroll. Like $10,000 that takes 3 years to actualize or 2 years to actualize, like this stuff is, like, there is a real opportunity cost in that money. Like, what is $10,000 worth in terms of other purchases?
Yeah.
Right? Like DJ said, like the advent calendar is probably going to be a slam dunk. And for every, you know, box of 20th anniversary that you're buying, that's like 7 advent calendars you're not buying.
Yeah. I like the advent calendar product a lot.
I had a real world example of this where we talked about it in this cast 6 years ago at this point, but I bought an unlimited Black Lotus and I had it graded. It was the first time I ever got a card graded. It was a big deal for me at the time. It was like Cass says, a not insignificant portion of my available capital. And it came back as a 9.5, which was a lottery ticket effectively. It was a winning lottery ticket. Doubled or nearly tripled the value of the card. I needed to find a place to sell it, and I ended up selling it to a vendor for around $8,000 when I had paid $3 for it, or $3 in exchange. And which is big upgrade, big huge thing. And if I still had that card today, it's worth probably $50K, like 40 or 50, in the very like up there range. And it's one of those things, like, you look back like, oh man, if I still had that card, I'd have all that money. But like, I used that $8,000, I put it into more Magic cards, and I did that a lot of times over 6 years. So like, that obviously is like a different scale than what some people are operating at. But like, if you just think about that in terms of $1,000, like, what does that $1,000 do for you in 6 months, as opposed to like just staring at that thing in your closet and being like, man, I can't wait till that hits 1,500 so I can try to sell it and compete with all the other people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
at $8,000.
So DJ, your big thing, because you are an advocate of getting the good secret layers and flipping them, even though you don't always get great margins on
DJ,
them.
he hates margins. He loves volume. Some people want a safe investment.
I don't think it is a safe investment. I think it's a coin flip. I think the secret layer is an equally safe investment.
I think that if your bankroll is huge, this is a slam dunk. Like, if you can afford to just have $10,000 do nothing for a couple of years, and you're for some reason averse to making 8-12% on the stock market, like, this is a totally reasonable thing to put your money in. But I think for the everyman, for like the average person listening to this podcast, this is not a good buy. I think these are speculative assets through and through.
Yes.
These are speculative assets. These are going to sell out on day one because they're speculative assets, and I think they're going to stagnate on the secondary market for a very long time. Like, it is a good investment. The question is it the right investment for you?
Mm-hmm.
That is a good way to put it.
Sorry, Corbin. Another really sort of lesson I learned very early on is when the first dual decks came out, they did Jace versus Chandra. It was the first dual deck that had a Planeswalker, and it was right after the Elves versus Goblins many, many years ago, Boomer stuff. And that deck went from like 20 to 80 very quickly because a lot of people just wanted to buy a deck with 2 Planeswalkers in it and just jam them against each other with their significant other or whatever, and you could not find them for $100. And then a few years later, the Japanese anime version of that came out. Right. And everyone was like, oh, this is a slam dunk. It's the anime version of Jace versus Chandra. It's the first time they've done an anime thing. It's very cool. Look at the first dual deck. That one quadrupled. This is going to do the same thing. And then it didn't for like 2 years because nobody opened it. Everybody held it. And everybody was just like, okay, when's it going to go up? When's it going to get? Because it was a speculative asset to everybody. And nobody actually cared about it.
Yeah, I think these are all very good points. I looked up Hasbro stock. Hasbro stock 10 years ago, so today being October 11th, 2012, the stock is $67.70. 10 years ago, 2012, let me get it back up here, it was $38. So your Hasbro stock has doubled in that time. It peaked, for what it's worth, at 115 back in 2019 with basically the launch of Arena.
Well, it went way down early this month. You could have bought for way less than that. And it went back up when they said they were going to revise their projections, invest more in Magic and D&D because every other thing in Hasbro is not making any fucking money because who wants to buy a Monopoly
It's at a low
game
right now. If you want to go buy your Hasbro stock, now's the time to do it because it is down a lot from its peak of a few years ago. Keep now, what's going to happen is Hasbro's going to get bought by Disney after Lorcana fails to take over the TCG market, and then
tweeted that and wrote that on Reddit today.
I've been saying that for a long time.
I don't
man.
even think it's a
true.
joke anymore. I think you really.
I'm not.
That.
I've never been joking. It's nice. What's happening?
Before we give our listeners stock advice, I think it's very important for them to realize that you should look at how low Hasbro stock is relative to its previous positions, also relative to the market as a whole. I think the market on the whole is fairly low, so keep that in mind when you are purchasing any stock.
Yep. Or you could do what, at least if we're gonna, dip our toes into personal finance advice. I just put my money into a Roth IRA mutual fund every year. It's nice and safe.
I would go to mtgstocks.com. You
don't have to speculate.
Stocks. Yeah. You don't know
Speculate
the stock market?
Magic
Learn the MTG stocks market at mtgstocks.com. You could buy MTG stocks, which are just cards, and you play them in decks, and then you sell them. They're stocks. Buy some stock in our stocks at MTG stocks.
I was going to request like a Jim Cramer bit, but I think that was close-ish.
Mm-hmm.
That was fine. Yeah, good stand-in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
I want to hear Jim Cramer have to talk about how he's revising his call on Hasbro based on their all their stuff they announced, like secret layer Post Malone. Whoa! Smashes a coffee cup for no reason.
Somebody tweeted Kramer. Let him know that we have a guest ready to go on his show to talk about Hasbro stock at any time, and Jason can go on there. Give him that pitch. He'll fit in perfectly. Jason will leave us. He'll go on to his show at CNBC or whatever that guy's on.
I want him
I
to
can
come on
see
our
this.
podcast. No, we need to have the home field
We need to have
advantage.
Jim Kramer.
Oh,
we need
I
to have
see.
somebody else who can riff on this cast.
I tried to get Draymond on the cast, but he seemed to not want to.
Did you say Drame?
Draymond. Seemed
The
like he might
Aerosmith
wanna-
song?
It seemed like Draymond Green might want a friendly avenue to discuss him punching out Jordan Poole. Look, every time drama happens, y'all, I try to get it. Okay, I try to get him on here.
It's Jordan Peele.
No,
Got him. Nope. I said nope.
So I will add one more little addendum as we circle back around to the 30th anniversary.
get out, Jason.
Get out.
Get out.
I will add one more little addendum to the 30th anniversary collector edition thing, and it was brought to my attention by Eric Wendorf on Twitter, and it's something that none of us talked about, and I didn't really see anybody talk about either. These are the first foil dual lands, guys.
Yep.
These are the first foil, and the duels have always been like the reason for this product because they're the commander playable thing. Not a lot of people are super excited for the Time Twister because it's just, even though it's legal, it's not something people super go out to get unless if they're playing Nekustar or whatever. But like the duels being foil is very relevant, and the supply on those might be shorter than we think.
I'm with you on some of this. The one thing I'm not with you on is that you did not properly convey this tweet.
Oh, with the
Eric's
clap
tweet
emojis?
is, there will be official WotC printed foil dual lands for your EDH decks. You got to get it right.
New
Clapping
rule:
emojis.
anybody who does that
I
should
don't.
be shot.
I don't think you actually said a single word on the rhythm there either.
I'm going to blame the audio disconnect. There was a
Sure.
delay. It
Well,
wasn't
most
me.
country
It
music's
wasn't
in
me.
6/8 time, so when I try to do it round the other ways, I can't count it out.
I think I did more claps than words. I do think I lost the beat there at some point, but I also may never had it. So, you know.
You're white, man. It's fine. But you're like a caricature of a white person.
It's called Canadian.
Hey, y'all, is watermelon a vegetable? Let's go play Stump. Oops, accidentally burned the field down playing Stump.
That's not how anyone talks, though, man.
Isn't
y'all
it?
want
That's how you all sound to me.
Y'all want to go
everybody.
play Stump?
Y'all want to go play Stump?
At least it's not like the Tennessee draw where I get it like this and you get what they're saying.
Yeah.
Are you doing Boomhauer?
God dang old man talking about propane, man. You know what I'm saying? The devil's devil, man. God dang old.
What are you guys
the
doing,
thing
a
is,
livestock auction?
You realize, look, people who like while you coastal elites, right? We're talking about King of the Hill for people who don't know. People do talk like that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not really that much of a meme. Like, it'd be like that.
I think Letterkenny nails it a lot better, honestly, because it's like they're not talking like morons. There's a rhythm. There's a dynamic.
Yeah.
That doesn't
But,
change
like-
the fact that I needed a translator at GP Memphis. Like,
You just go hang out with my family in the woods, so you'll hear you'll hear a lot of stuff you don't want to hear. I'll tell you that. But
That'd be good for a laid-off troll and toad person to just sit in somebody else's booth and translate mud people into, like, regular talk. If you never got your arm bit by a catfish, you probably don't understand what I'm about to say.
it's like, look, man.
so that's why Cool Stuff does so well at these events. They have somebody that can
Look,
speak swamp people.
Look, man. If that catfish is asking for it, all right. Have you ever seen a hole that somebody in Texas and Oklahoma won't stick something into? They see a hole underwater and they're like, "Yeah, give me some of that." And it bites back, and they do it anyway.
Oh no, it was a black Little Mermaid, my worst fear.
There go half the listeners. Sorry, everybody.
I wanted to make a joke, and I like held back so that there would be less to edit out.
Now, what if that guy comes back and listens to this show like 15 years later, and he finds out we're still making fun of exactly that?
To be
One
clear,
guy came up to me in person like 8 years ago and was like, "Corbin, I really like the podcast, but you're all going to alienate half your listeners. You can't be saying that political
yeah.
crap." And 15 years later, we're still like, alienate half our listeners.
All right. I'm telling my joke now. JJ,
Oh, yeah,
cut
please.
here.
All right, everybody, there's one more thing I have to tell you about. Did you know that you, yes, you, can go to any storage lot around your city, take some cash, some amount of cash. We don't know how much. You can get there, though, and somebody will yell, "Who wants this storage unit?" You'll have 12 seconds to look around, and then you'll spend $8,000. And you know what? You'll lose about 4 of it. But you might get on TV. Storage Wars, baby. Pokemon and Magic style. Have you all seen this post going around storagetreasures.com around the internet?
Oh, yeah. That
We've
looks
got
legit
power.
to me.
Yeah, we got power. We've got
Yeah.
Pokemon stuff. Looks like there's a tackle box in there.
A tackle box tells you it's legit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who fishes, you can trust that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not going to
this
put
has
any
been-
lead weights in any deck's sleeves at all.
He lets you know exactly who he is with all of his bumper stickers.
What's wild to me about this is it just obviously has to be bait. I don't think very many of us think it's real. People who know about the Pokemon stuff say that the Pokemon stuff is both from the year 2022 and also fake. There's apparently multiple copies there of card of which 40 exist in the world or something. Seems very fake, so therefore it is highly probable that the Magic cards are fake too. What's interesting about this is just how much it exploded the internet. People are like, but what if it's real? It's currently going for $200,000 on this website. Somebody's going to be very sad. If it's real, a lot of people seem to think it was the storage unit, just doing their own thing to drum up interest. Which
I kind of like when people
they are,
kind of understand stuff, like buy these storage units. Like there was a Nintendo auction on eBay that had a copy of a game called Stadium Events in the box. It was one of the most rare games ever. So like this Nintendo auction went for like tens of thousands of dollars. So this guy thought the Nintendos with a certain serial number went for 10 grand on eBay. This is like the one Storage War episodes I watched. And the guy was like, "Oh, it's the ones with this serial number. Oh, it's 10 grand." So like,
yeah.
I would love to see somebody who like knows that Black Lotuses are worth money, but that's it. Spend $200,000 on this unit.
And find out all
So all the cards are fake, right? Which means that if this sells for $200,000, then Wizards was correct in how they priced their proxies.
What's interesting to me is because when we got into this stuff, right, like over the past 10 to 15 years, it was actually a real thing to get on Craigslist or Facebook and drive to someone's house and they've got their kids' Magic cards from back in the day in the attic and it might have duels in it. That's a real thing that happened like to us. That was a thing that happened in the world. That doesn't really happen in 2022. Or if it does, 12 homies who are 19 and trying to offer 10% of its value have already beaten you there and made the person hate everybody. Like,
I don't remember if I told this story on the cast or not. 2 guys came into the video game shop where I worked, where I also bought collections, and one of them was talking his collection mad up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I had all these super insane cards. I've got all these revised like unlimited things. My decks were insane. I would kill people turn 3 all day, every day." And he also brought his little brother along, who is like 10 years younger or so. And he brings like the shoe box with the rubber bands, puts it on the table. I thumb through it, and it's like maybe $50 worth of cards. There's like HP revised Sheevan Dragons, all the stuff that you don't want. That
all the turn 3 kills for sure.
Yeah, well, he was probably probably accelerating into them with, I don't know, like not like fast bond or something, or some like channel or some cheaty way to do that. But and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I brought my little brother along too. He just had a few cards, and his brother has like the Black Green Elves list with 4 Bayous and 4 Berserks." And so this guy walks away with $30, and his brother gets like $400.
That's
Hell
pretty
yeah.
funny. But look, even in 2022, it works. This blew up all over the social media today. People, but what if it's real? Crazy.
What if it's real?
Then
What if
it's
by
going
some-
for $200,000.
By some miracle, Joe Biden's actually the legitimate president of the United States. You know, as long as we're throwing out absurd scenarios.
Yep, absurdities. Good point. So yeah, I guess go. Look, if you're a gambler, I just hope we get a resolution to this, right? If someone gets rich off of it, I'd like to know.
If you have
I don't think
200
they
grand and
will.
you're listening to this podcast, you probably turn it off when we implied you didn't have $1,000 to spend on a product guaranteed to go up.
Like, even if it's 200 grand for the bid, like, let's say, assume they're real. Like, what do you have to hit to like for that to be even a good buy?
I didn't even attempt to price it out,
Because
but
like a beta Lotus is like maybe 15 to 16K. Like the unlimited set of powers, like maybe like 20, not including the Lotus. Like I'm just like spitballing.
If it's real, the Illustrator cards are worth 200,000 probably for the pair. I don't actually know, but like the Illustrator cards are the most expensive Pokemon
If
cards
those
ever
are
sold.
real, yes. If the insane
They're not.
Pokemon stuff is real,
they're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
the internet seemed pretty confident that the Pokemon stuff was clearly fake. Which hey,
Are
do
you
your own
implying a
math from
guy
there.
who has 2 of a card that there's only 40 made doesn't have $110 to pay his storage unit fee for the month? Because
Well, what if he died?
for the past 3 months, 6 months?
that's where we're at. Is if this is real, it's because somebody passed away and did not have any living will or relatives or anything.
I definitely got sealed boxes of alliances from a guy whose uncle died and gave him a storage unit full of.
I mean, look, I
really
sadly
demanding
have gotten expensive cards from people whose relatives have passed away as well. But I don't know. It's like if you live alone and die, maybe, I guess. Most of the time, your family knows if you have $250 million or $250,000 in Magic cards, right? Like it's a big investment that matters to your family.
I don't think my family knows that my cards are valuable. I think
Well,
like
I
if I
certainly-
died, my wife would be like, "He sure liked to play with these," and then she would put them on Craigslist.
So she would have one of your friends named Douglas Johnson buy all of your cards at 40 cents on the dollar.
Who's
and
gonna buy them,
everyone would be
DJ or
happy.
one of my friends? Which one?
Well, I mean, you'll be dead. So
Yeah.
that's really a question, isn't it? I don't know. I can't speak to your spiritual
Well,
beliefs.
If it's going to a friend, then it has to be me on this cast at least.
Well, no, you're the
Our
mom. You're not
relationship
the
is-
friend.
We're parasocial at best, Jason.
I can live with that.
All right, well, let's move on before we devolve any further here. As a reminder to everybody, we're about to do pick of the week, but the best pick of the week is always to go to Coalesce Apparel. Check out all of the t-shirts on there. Somebody sent me a picture of the Coalesce booth that Cedric was running at SCG Con Dallas over the weekend. So one, if you go to the event, check that out. Cedric's putting a ton of work into it. He's crisscrossing the country, really pushing hard to make this business work. And I love to see Coalesce Apparel growing. We love to be affiliated with them. You can use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery if you want a discount. But yeah, someone sent me a picture of our shirts up at the booth at SCG Con Dallas, and it felt pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Not
Right
just
there
our
next
shirts,
to
though.
all the others.
You can buy anything. And
Yeah.
you can buy stickers. Stickers go on deck boxes.
I am saying this somewhat as an accountability post, but we will be working on a new design, so that it's not just the Brainstorm Brewery logo. We will.
Why
come up
haven't
with
we done it
something.
already?
Lack of creativity.
Yeah,
will
if you
hire-
get a
we
good
will
idea
work
for that,
with-
pitch us. Go to brainstormbrewer@gmail.com and pitch us on
Photos
a
of my
Brainstorm Brewery
face.
shirt idea.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, I'll start off with pick of the week here. I'm going back to Modern Horizons 1. Giver of Runes. This card's been creeping up from about 6 to 8 over the past few months. It's just kind of a sort of a solid card that does work. There's Modern Horizons 2 versions, there's list versions, so it's got some printings out there. But I've seen Giver of Runes trend up, and I don't know how, a Yorion change in Modern would impact it or anything, but it does, it just is very good as a card and is going to continue to trend up as people get back to Paper Magic, and the decks that it's in, I think can do well. I think that the low to the ground, protect your stuff, Giver of Runes is just likely to always have a place in the format.
Yeah. I think so. I think Giver of Runes goes in the Queen, Kaalia, Bin Krug decks. I keep talking about this because it's like the only card, or the only commander from that Brothers War set that anybody's building decks of. But if you go to EDH Rec, right now there are 36 decks for it. So hey, That's information. People are really building this as like a mill yourself and dump artifacts in the yard sort of a deck. So Goblin Engineer, despite it getting a reprinting in Time Spiral Remastered as a old bordered card or whatever, looks good, man. I like those engineers at under $5, and I like the regular Modern Horizons 1 Goblin Engineer under $5. Like, it's a $10 card. It's just, are they gonna, if they reprint it 2 more times in the next 2 years, it won't hit 10.
That's all I'll say about it. I saw a tweet from Aspiring Spike recently. Cass probably knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a card in Brothers War called Dragon Engine. It's the one that fuses with Mishra to make the super big Dragon Engine Mishra Yu-Gi-Oh card. And Dragon Engine says is a 3-mana artifact creature. This is when it ETBs, you discard your hand and draw 3.
When it ETBs from the graveyard.
Oh, sure. Okay. So, but yes, you can just Goblin Engineer that every turn and just do something really stupid. In Modern. So that seems like a thing that people could do in a competitive format with that card.
Plus, it's just like EDH Gold, baby.
Yeah. Engineer also feels like a ticking time bomb in Modern.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yep.
It has to be like truly broken. I mean, it was broken with Thopter Sword when like you had Opal and Astrolabes. Like, it's the kind of card that will only get better the more broken artifacts they play.
Mm-hmm. All right, so mine is just a little basic of a pick. It's just kind of a bread and butter, a little bit based on the 30th anniversary collector thingy, but Reforge the Soul is like the closest that we'll ever get to actually Wheel of Fortune, and it's trended down a lot recently. It was cresting around 10, and now it's down to like 5 or 6. I don't really know why. It's just tanked super hard and only has one other real reprint in Commander 2016, so it's been a while that's been reprinted. I would expect it to keep climbing up, but it just has been on the downswing, and I mean, you don't want to catch a falling knife per se, but
I mean, it's showing sign. I'm looking at the graph now. It's showing signs of plateauing. You know,
but I mean, like that card is just so sought after in terms of what it does. Like, Wheel of Fortune is still a $250, $300 card, and we've had a lot of versions of it. We've had weird suspend ones. We've had ones with weird limitations. We've had stuff like Days Undoing. But like
the voting one.
It's just 2 more mana. And I realize that it's worse Wheel of Fortune, but it is not a 5% of the price Wheel of Fortune is what I'm saying. I think that it could be a $20 card if it doesn't get any reprints, and people would not blink an eye at still buying it.
That's probably true. This was one of my favorite cards in really old Modern. I had a crazy mono red.
Oh, the Human Storm
battle. No, it was Battle Hymn.
Yeah, it was the Human Storm deck. You make a lot of human tokens and you burn at the stake them.
It was a burn at the stake one. It was very, very fun. I would say, does Young Pyromancer make human tokens? That was the card that was always the most broken.
Makes elementals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Young Pyromancer and
it make
Goblin cards. That's why I was
gonna let that go, Jason, but yeah.
But you called it a human storm deck.
Yeah, because it also played like Thatcher Revolt and stuff, right?
No.
That was like the standard version that did that.
Okay.
You just cut all that part, JJ.
No, leave it in.
No. I mean, talking about like a minor.
I want people to ask questions. We got to ask the important questions like, how does a pyromancer make people?
Well, you see, when a mommy pyromancer and a daddy pyromancer love each other very much,
they go in a dumpster in an alley.
or like an uncle pyromancer and his niece pyromancer love each other very much.
Those tokens cannot be destroyed. You have to plane shift to another plane if you want to destroy those tokens.
I hope I didn't. Sorry, it's House of the Dragon spoilers, everybody.
I haven't seen that last incestuous episode.
We haven't seen the last episode either.
Boy, do I have the pick for all of you. Can I go?
Is it Jesus?
I actually kind of have 2 picks. The first one I'm just going to run at you, and the second one I'm going to weave a tapestry, so to speak. The first one is a Warhammer 40k card. It's Triumph of St. Catherine. It is
it's really a card.
White and 4 colorless for a 5/5 lifelink that when it dies, you like shuffle it in with the top 7 cards of your deck, and it has a miracle for a white and 1. It is the first miracle card we've had since Avacyn Restored.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-mana 5/5 flash lifelink that might be on rate for Legacy, and they're not printing more Warhammer stuff.
That's not. They did do a miracle set in Commander a while back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and treat the dead.
Because I spoiled.
Didn't you go to
I
Miracle
spoiled
of
that
St.
one,
Catherine
yeah.
High School, Corbin?
Close.
This is such a cool design too.
Yeah, there's a couple other miracle creatures in the Warhammer set that I think are okay, but this one I think actually has real potential. You kind of get to do the Stoneforge Batterskull thing without having to play Stoneforge in your deck.
Can we acknowledge what that statement was? Oh, it's like not having to play Stoneforge. I mean, like, come on. Like, Stoneforge is just garbage in 20... I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm saying just wow. Like,
I mean,
you know...
Stoneforge also lets you play things like GT, so it might be more powerful, but like this is a $4 card that's probably never getting reprinted meaningfully.
Yeah.
And it's just like a very unique effect that might be Legacy playable.
Yes, but like, wow, just a world where Stoneforge is like the 59th card is just...
Really
wow.
is. My other actual real pick. So imagine you play a card for 4 mana in Legacy.
I'm
and it says
Jace.
I've already
one
lost
is-
the game, but okay.
Maybe
know what you're
maybe
picking.
not.
Maybe, yeah.
There's a 1 in 6 chance you win the game on the spot. My pick is Comet Stellar Pup for Legacy play. I have a couple reasons for this. One, the card
Does
is
that
like
have an acorn on it? I can never tell.
No.
you can play it in Legacy.
Comet Stellar
Pup.
Pup.
Okay.
Oh god, I just looked at it.
So it's about $4 to $6 in the US for a non-foil copy. It's about 10 to 12 euros right now, so there's already arbitrage opportunities there. The card does a couple of things really well. It's not blue, so you can't Pyroblast it in the control mirrors. When you play it, it's got 6 potential options when you use its 0 ability. The first one, so on 1 and 2, you give +2 loyalty, so you make 2 1/1 haste squirrel tokens and have a 7 loyalty planeswalker in play for 4 mana.
Remember
That's
when we
pretty
were
powerful.
talking about being able to read the exact card text from memory?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I'm just saying this is
I
an
can't-
example of that.
I can't read the card text with it in front of me. It's
I've
too
thought about
much.
this for like 3 days now. I bought 4 copies of this card. I'm excited to play with it in some number in my Legacy deck.
I do think this card's good.
If you roll a 3, you get to bring back like an Expressive Iteration or a Swords to Plowshares to your hand, or even just a land.
Anything MV2 or less, yeah.
Yeah. On a 4 and a 5, you deal 5 damage to something and then have a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Like, starting with 5 loyalty and having effectively half the things be pluses is so good. And then on a 6, you get to do it 2 more times. It's possible you just
Yeah.
play this card and win the game on the spot if you just roll enough 6s and chain enough of the -2s. Unlikely for sure, but like, it's not pyroblastable. I think Minsk and Boo is a little overrated and people shouldn't be playing 4. And the card already has like an arbitrage spread. So it doesn't take a lot to convince me that that card is worth buying.
People
also,
are playing Minsk and Boo in Legacy.
Yep.
yeah, like
that
as a
card's actually
4-of.
insane.
It's
We've
one of the
talked
best
that
cards.
through, yeah. We've talked that through on the podcast before. Like it seems weird.
You said
doesn't
that,
seem
but like
much,
every
but,
time I
yeah.
hear that, it's like, what?
Yeah. But when you actually, you'll never remember all the words on this card, but essentially you get a creature and then win the game.
Yeah, like I saw at the Legacy Pit, I saw a 10/10 Boo token attacking somebody.
Wow.
Also, like I think
I don't
people
even
realize
mind. That's just, yeah.
people don't realize that one of the reasons why Jace the Mind Sculptor is so washed in Legacy is it's just a 4-mana thing that gets pyroblasted. Like not being blue is really relevant. That's actually one of the reasons why in the old Miracles, like with Top Around, Entreat the Angels was so important as a mirror breaker because it was just a thing that you could play that got around Counterbalance Top and also got around the Pyroblast people would board in.
Yeah. I haven't played any Legacy in a hot minute, but I don't even know how I feel about Minks and Boos and Comet Pups running around Legacy.
I liked doing real fair in Legacy. I really liked playing a lot of Knight of the Reliquary decks in Legacy. So
Now,
Who
they're
knows,
like,
maybe you
one of the
can
best
again.
decks.
Yeah.
I like fair magic.
If people are playing 4-mana Planeswalkers, you might be able to get away with playing a Reliquary.
The incredible... You haven't even addressed the incredible psychological damage this card does to the opponent.
No,
Yeah.
kidding.
You
The
get
mental
murdered by
damage
a
is real.
hamster?
No,
Or
my
a
comment,
puppy
but
dog?
like, if you just
No,
like
the
roll
pup,
2 nat
man.
6s and you're just like, sorry, bud.
Yeah, dude.
Game's
and it's
over.
so cute It's so cute. You just rolled 2 6s in a row. You're going to activate your planeswalkers 4 more times.
And you're just
it's going to stare at him with its cute little puppy astronaut face.
And you're just playing against somebody who has like a stone poker face, who's just like bridge shuffling aggressively, like thinking like this the entire game. And you're just like, lol, dice go burr.
I will describe the exact person.
I watched a guy playing Legacy Reanimator get his stumped by a kid who was 10 years old maybe, or 12, playing the foil premium slivers precon in a Legacy event. And he was just on the guy, and the guy tried to force a will something, and the judge is like, you have Platinum Empyrean out. And the guy was like so tilted, losing to just a kid who played turn 2 sliver, turn 3 sliver. And he was just like, whoa, I'll get a chroma. He's like, okay, all my slivers have flying will block. And he's just like, what the fuck? Slivers! So I can imagine commenting somebody who's just got like a $3,000 deck. It's just
dude, somebody's over there with
so
Storm,
funny.
right?
Yeah.
They've got Teps, and they're just like, I'm gonna go so deep today. And you're like, Puppy goes bark.
Puppy goes bark.
The exact
then they lose
guy,
it to it the next round too, and you find their deck in the trash. Yeah.
You find their deck in the back of their non-waterproofed trunk.
The exact guy you're gonna get with this is like late 20s, early 30s white guy with a button-down shirt that he has never ironed. All of his cards are Japanese, and he's playing with the Red Pack Island, the Euro Island.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's really bad at cantripping, but he exclusively plays blue-white control. It's that dude. You're going to get that dude with this, and he's just going to draw from the tournament and contemplate why he's wasted his life playing this game. And it's going to be
rage.
Awesome.
He's going to go on Twitter and rage about what
he's going to say something misogynistic about
game.
Marvel's casting choices, probably. I don't think he's going to say anything about Magic. A black actor playing Blade. What's next?
I want this card to be good in Legacy now so much.
Yep.
I think the one thing keeping it from being potentially good is the deck that wants to play it has a trouble playing enough green cards to justify endurance in the sideboard, and so you might have to play Minsk and Boo over it.
Or play both.
Give it time. 4 mana planeswalker, 4 mana non-Jace planeswalkers .deck. Let's go.
It's honestly really easy to justify.
2 play in Legacy.
It's easy to justify playing 4 mana do nothing cards when you get to play 4 Uros and 6 Force of Wills in your deck.
Yep. Uro is
yeah.
The small amount of Legacy I played involved.
My mental image of this Legacy deck is like 4 of these Comet Pups, all with the different Borderless and Galaxy and like showcase art. 4 Blood Moons, 1 with Masterpiece, 1 8th edition foil, 1 like Chronicles, and 1 the Dark. And then I'm not playing Plateau. I'm playing 4 of the Secret Lair Planes that like peel off with a Battlefield Forge.
Oh yeah, they got those. They got the golf hole on the front.
Yeah,
Plateau is the only duel with multiple artworks.
Oh, great! Yeah, that's true. So like one of the revised and 3 unlimited.
Eclipse
like...
CE.
Reback.
We're playing with Sacred Foundries. Okay.
There's a really good quote from Jacob Corey about why he was playing Temple Garden in his Maverick deck, and it was because I don't make foil Japanese Savannas.
Reasonable. Absolutely reasonable. That is the kind of attitude
I'll take
we
2
support
in
on this
Maverick.
podcast. As DJ says, money is not real, but dopamine is, and that's why you play that deck. Well, on that note, everybody, thank you for listening to the podcast this week. We're glad we got everyone back together. This was a fun episode. We got some after hours recorded, patreon.com/BSB. If you want to support the show, remember to check out MTG Stocks and Coalesce as well. Thank you, everybody. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.